God's big plan for the world.
MegaQuest, 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 MegaQuest.
God's big plan for the world.
MegaQuest, 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 MegaQuest.
God's big plan for the world.
MegaQuest, MegaQuest,
God's big plan for the world.
MegaQuest, MegaQuest,
God's big plan for the world.
MegaQuest, MegaQuest, MegaQuest.
The first bit of God's plan didn't seem to turn out too well, did it? And unfortunately, after Adam and Eve, things got worse. Adam's children ended up backbiting, squabbling, and even murdering each other. God was heartbroken about this, because if you remember, he'd made men and women in the first place to be like him. The trouble was that God's plan always depended on people to make it work. So perhaps when they let him down, God had to think of a new plan to compensate for the things that had gone wrong. Still, God was determined not to give up. He loved men and women too much. The next bit of his plan was very clever. He decided to take a whole group of people and to build a special relationship with them, teaching them what he was really like and showing them how he wanted them to be as well. The idea was that once they'd got the hang of it, they could show the rest of the world. Well, that was the idea. What? Thundered God. What are they doing? Can't they trust me for just 1 second? God was looking down from the mountain and seeing what Moses could not see. God's special people, the children of Israel, were bowing down and making sacrifices before an object that they had made, treating it as though it was God. This was a bizarre thing to do, because the object was in the shape of a cow, and the people had only knocked it up that morning by melting down their own jewelry. Why did they do it? Well, it's a long story, but basically it was because they'd got bored of waiting for God to do something exciting, and decided to take things into their own hands. "Oh no," said Moses. "Not again. I can't let this lot out of my sight for a minute." Moses had actually been up the mountain talking to God for 40 days, considerably more than a minute. But that wasn't really the point. The point was that without Moses to control them, the children of Israel seemed incapable of keeping loyal to God. Sound at all familiar? It had all started so well because Moses was a really good leader. Although he was probably quite macho, or most leaders were in those days, the Bible says that Moses was also the most humble man in the world. So seriously sorted was he in the ego department that God could turn up any time he liked and talk with Moses in person without it going to Moses' head. Moses loved God and did all that he could to obey him. But the people that Moses led were another story. They were called the children of Israel, and they might have been called the delinquents of Israel for all the maturity they displayed. God parted the Red Sea so that they could escape from slavery in Egypt. He supernaturally provided food and water for them in the desert, but none of it seemed to make any difference. The children of Israel specialized in being gripey and dissatisfied. They recalled every last detail of the setbacks they'd suffered, but when it came to thanking God for his goodness, they had a sudden memory loss. All this, as you can imagine, was a bit hard on Moses, and more than a bit hard on God. At last, God decided to get tough, turning up in person to show the children of Israel how he wanted them to be. "Moses," said God one day, "I'm about to get seriously supernatural. You see that mountain over there?" Yes, Lord," said Moses. "The one that looks incredibly high and difficult to climb?" "That's the one," said God. "I want you to meet me there in 3 days' time. Tell all the rest of the children of Israel to gather round and have a look. It's going to be quite spectacular." So, Moses gathered the children of Israel together. "Now, listen you lot. This is God coming to see us, not Great Aunt Matilda, so we want no larking about. Everyone's to wash themselves, wash their clothes, and be on their best behaviour. And remember, don't touch the mountain. God has said that he wants us to be an example to the rest of the world. So we'd better be prepared to do what he wants when he comes, haven't we? The next morning, the people were woken early by the call of a trumpet. But the note was purer and more piercing than anything they'd heard before. And the sound got louder and louder till it resounded through the whole camp. It seemed to be coming from heaven itself. Trembling with fear, the people gathered around the foot of the mountain. And if they'd been frightened before, what they saw there nearly made them faint. The mountain looked like it was on fire. Great billows of black smoke rolled down to where the people were, and the mountain itself was shaking violently, as if it was about to be split in two. "Cor blimey," said one old man. "Is that God?" "Must be," said another. "I just never expected him to be so godlike, that's all." Grimly, Moses approached the foot of the mountain and started to climb. "I'll see you lot later," he said. "You're not going up there, are you?" someone cried out. "I certainly am," said Moses. "I've got an appointment with God, and I'm going on your behalf, so be thankful." Moses turned back to the mountain, and as he started to climb, the black smoke enveloped him. And that was it, more or less, for 40 days. Well, actually, that's not quite true. If you read the Bible carefully, you'll see that there was a bit more toing and froing than that. Moses went up and down the mountain a couple of times at the beginning, but after things got going, what basically happened was this. Moses stayed up the mountain and talked to God, and the children of Israel stayed down the mountain and talked to each other, and played the 15th century BC equivalent of tiddlywinks, and got bored. And eventually, as you heard at the beginning of the story, got into awful mischief. Who knows why it happened? Why would anyone choose to worship a model of a cow when they'd just seen the true God? Perhaps the children of Israel deliberately wanted to do what was wrong. Or perhaps they did it to get attention from God. Or perhaps they were just really stupid. Anyway, when they did it, God's heart was so grieved that he almost wiped out the children of Israel there and then. "No," said Moses, "don't do that. I'll go and sort them out." And off he went, storming down the mountain at about 150 miles an hour, carrying with him the 2 precious tablets of stone that God himself had just inscribed with the most important advice in the universe. Oh, I haven't told you about those yet, have I? Well, those 2 stone tablets were probably the main reason that God had come down to earth to talk to Moses in the first place. God had written them out himself with his 10 most important pieces of advice for the human race. They were to show people exactly what God wanted and to make it easy for people to follow his ways. Moses hurried down the mountain, still holding the tablets, but when he reached the bottom, he was almost sick at the sight that met his eyes. God's special people were dancing and cavorting before the statue of the cow, bowing down to it and crying out, "Hail, mighty one, we worship you." Moses looked for a few moments. Then he let out a loud howl. "Oh, how dare you!" cried out Moses. The children of Israel stopped what they were doing abruptly. Everyone looked embarrassed, but a few people sniggered behind their hands. "There's nothing in it," cried one. "We were just having our bit of fun." "Nothing in it," growled Moses. "You've made a mockery out of the Most High God, that's all. How can God put up with you? You don't deserve to know him, and you don't deserve to know his ways." And with that, Moses took the stone tablets that God had just given him and threw them down against the side of the mountain. The tablets landed with an ugly crack, then broke into pieces at Moses' feet. "What was that?" asked a young woman. "That was the most important advice in the universe," said Moses. "How to live at peace with God." a deathly silence fell on the children of Israel. People stood and gawped at the stone tablets, or what was left of them, and someone began to cry. "Oh dear, we've blown it now," whispered the woman. "You certainly have," said Moses. "You certainly have." But that's not the end of the story. It never is with God. God always wants to forgive people if he can, and that's just what he did with the children of Israel. And he even wrote out the Ten Commandments all over again. Yes, the Ten Commandments. That's what those stone tablets came to be called. You've probably heard of them. They became ever so famous. Anyway, God gave out a second set. Have you got any idea what the Ten Commandments say? Well, if you don't, here's an updated version. Number 1, make God your number 1. Worship him, follow him, and always try to please him. If you're doing all that, you won't go too far wrong. Number 2, don't put anything else before God. Number 3, never use God's name as a swear word. Number 4, have a day off once a week. Well, God took a rest when he made the world, and so should you. Number 5, always respect your mum and dad. Look after them when they get old. Number 6, don't kill anybody. Number 7, don't have sex outside marriage. Number 8, never steal. Number 9, never lie. And number 10, don't be jealous of what other people have. It's one thing to know the Ten Commandments. It's another thing to live by them. That's what the children of Israel found out anyway. Are we any better at keeping God's good advice today? What do you think?